to grade the Americans abroad right now, everybody. So obviously we mentioned a few there, but Jordan Pefok, of course, got that winner in stoppage time. Brenden Aaronson as well. Weston McKennie subbed on in the 68th minute. 50% success rate on 6 passes. And John Anthony Brooks sent off in the 63rd. Anything from that, Jimmy Conrad?
Well, shout out to Jordan Pefok, who came on at halftime, didn't actually start the game, and obviously made his presence felt with that 95th minute winner. And obviously that's going to be a career moment for him. I'm excited for him on a personal level, and also because it now adds to the intrigue and conversation about who is our number 9 for the U.S. men's national team. That conversation is still wide open. I thought Brenden Aaronson, like I mentioned before, continues to prove why he should be considered a regular starter for our national team. I thought he was tremendous today against Sevilla. Didn't look out of place. Looked like he belonged and almost got a goal there. They should give him a penalty at some point. If they're going to get 3 1/2, get that guy to step up and take a penalty. John Anthony Brooks, I don't know if you saw the goal that Jonathan David did score, but he got left in the cold in that one. So he probably felt very fortunate that the VAR came back and said the ball was out of bounds. Not only, and then, 5, 6, 7 minutes after that, he gets his second yellow, gets a red card. So yeah, it's he's on the bad form side of things. And then Weston McKennie, obviously, I don't think a 50% passing rate's very good, but at that point, the game was well in hand. All 3 goals Juve had scored in the first half. And so he just gets kind of coming in to run around. I want him to find his form. I think he's going to be, and same with John Brooks, as soon as possible, because we have some big games coming up in World Cup qualifying, but it doesn't look so good for those 2 in the particular.
I mean, first of all, shout out to Luis for coming up with anything to say about Weston McKennie. He's like head rubber half.
Well, that's thanks to our producer, Des, I think. I wasn't going to say anything, and then I was going to talk about other things, but yeah, Weston had to be included, I guess.
Everyone's talking about this Ricardo Pepi kid. I don't. Is it him and Pefok? Is that the front 2 against Panama? Is that what will have them shaking in their hats?
No.
Very good, James Bench.
No, I would say that we'll probably run with the 4-3-3 anyway, so it'd probably be one or the other. I think Josh Sargent obviously would be in there. Daryl Dike, who plays for Orlando City and had a good run with Barnsley, would be in the conversation as well, assuming everybody's healthy. Ricardo Pepi he I think did enough to warrant it. Our first game is actually against Jamaica, but away to Panama, which is the second one. We'll see. I'm kind of curious. This is now, as we talk about with Ole Gunnar or other managers that have a plethora of options in multiple positions, you got to figure out what your best starting lineup is. And I think that's going to be our big challenge, which includes the number 9 spot.
Yeah, well, we have a question here, a comment from Rob Thomas. If I have a USMNT match tomorrow, I'd start Aaronson and bring Pulisic off the bench. It's been 5 years since Pulisic had a strong performance.
Damn,
5 years.
Is that hot here?
I could have sworn he scored a very crucial penalty.
That's a hot take.
I know. Rob, I appreciate. First of all, Rob, I appreciate your photo. You look good, man. You look like
happy. You look happy.
You look like Lord Disick from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But Rob, I don't know, Jimmy, what do you think of that? 5 years since a good performance of Pulisic.
Yeah, that's a bit strong. So I can see where he's leaning on this, but I do agree with him. And I've been saying it and kind of teasing it that I think Brenden Aaronson will either displace Pulisic or Gio Reyna for some important games here moving forward. Pulisic, I think his big concern, and I know Benj has come on and talked about it, is his health. There's just so much depth with Chelsea. There's just so many good players that he has to stay healthy. Benj was on HQ earlier talking about the quality. Everybody admires the quality that Pulisic has, but he just seems to get hurt at the wrong time, and then other players step up and take his spot, and then it's hard for him to find that rhythm and get back into the starting lineup, and it's a rinse and repeat. I feel like we're seeing this nice vicious cycle for Christian Pulisic, which makes me a little bit worried about his future at Chelsea because Thomas Tuchel doesn't care about your feelings. As we saw with Tammy Abraham, who's a good example of that. Now Tammy Abraham's getting love from somewhere else, and look at him. He's blossoming like a flower. You love to see it. So anyway, that's a different conversation. I think that Pulisic, he's still got that Captain American tag. I don't think he's going to lose that anytime soon, but I think Aaronson could be looking to steal some minutes here. And if anybody else starts blowing up, Timothy Weah or anybody like that, yeah, it could be hard for some players that we considered regulars 6-7 months ago to find their way in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge Puli has is, as far as I can see, looking from afar, when he goes off to the USMNT, that's when he goes to those games to recover the form and fitness that he didn't get for the past month or however long at Chelsea. That's not going to work. The US fans are not going to see the best version of him he is still, from what I've seen of every US international, he still has the highest ceiling of any of them. It is not that long ago that he was one of the 3 or 4 best players in the Premier League post-lockdown. That is a guy you persevere with. But I think he's maybe not a guy that Chelsea persevere with. For me, he feels like he just, and I know he doesn't think like this. I spoke to him before the start of the season, but he needs that move. It's not going to work. He should be the best player at Everton or a team of that level. And
I was going to ask you, which team do you think he goes to? I don't know. Does he stay in the Premier League? Does he go somewhere else? I kind of curious because when he went to Dortmund, he had the same thing. He showed flashes of his brilliance, but it wasn't this maintained and as consistent as we all know that he's capable of if healthy.
I think he suits the Premier League perfectly, and I think it should be a really high quality team. And I would be looking at those teams just below the big 4. I think
Everton's a good call. I think Everton's a very good call because Rafa Benitez has already given some kind of dynamic, at least more dynamic idea to what Everton represent, at least from what I've seen recently. He needs to stay in the Premier League. The problem with Pulisic sometimes is that he leaves a Chelsea side where he knows his role specifically, and then he goes to the USMNT, and then he's giving like 3 or 4 more tasks. Like he drops deep, he goes wide, he sometimes becomes the number 9, and that can be a little bit too much. And I just want to quickly.
Would you take him? Would you take him at Aston Villa?
No, I don't like Pulisic.
Oh man, what is happening?
No,
I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that answer.
No, listen, of course I would. He'd be great. He'd be great coming off way. But he's
coming off the bench for Buendia and Leon Bailey.
Yeah,
sweet.
What Bertrand Traore, son? We're gonna. No, but listen. One thing that I will say is that Brenden Aaronson is on his way to that. I think Brenden Aaronson is a fantastic. So Rob Thomas's point serves a purpose there. Aaronson, if he keeps going, he's going to elevate his game. And I completely agree. If Pulisic is somebody that's not 100% right now, Aaronson can fit that role. I think he's fantastic. A friend of the show, by the way, he was on Qué Golazo before he joined Salzburg. So, make sure that you check that out.